دافعين ترى مر على 45 line down تنور بنان الصخير the سفينة بتبعلا بحسية درع someone rented a boat to transport wine and it sank halfway through the trip. Rabbi Natan Omer says it depends on where the money is right now. Ibn Natan later if he already paid for the rental, he can't get a refund. Ibn Natan, but if he did not pay it yet, lo yitain, he doesn't pay it anymore. What's the case? If he says that when they agreed on the right, it depends on the agreement. So if when they agreed on the boat, they agreed on this boat, and he said, I'm gonna go bring some wine, imnatan, then if he already gave it, how come he shouldn't take it back? He could tell him, have this finta, give me the boat. But I have more wine to bring. Maybe you want to say this wine and a random boat. How come if he didn't give it, how can he not pay it? If the guy wants to tell him, the owner could tell him, the boat owner could tell him, I'm gonna bring more wine, but I'll bring you another boat. So must be too much. Rabbi Natan's case is they specified the wine, specified the boat. But if they didn't specify the boat and they didn't specify the wine, you split it. So in the first case where they specified the boat and the wine, in that situation, because they both need their each item, it all depends where the money is. If you already paid the money, then yes. If not, not. Someone rents a boat and he decided to unload it, made a pit stop halfway through, and he unloaded it. He has to pay the value for halfway. The owner can't complain. The owner only can complain. He doesn't have any further case against him. So that's the case. If the owner can find someone else to use the boat until he gets to where he wanted to go originally, why should he have a complaint? It's easy. But if you can't find somebody else, you should charge the guy the first full price to get to where he initially wanted to go. He could find someone else. What's the complaint? He weakened the boat by unloading it and loading it. It's a good claim. Charge him for it. Charge him money for it. That's not just like, oh, come complain. Charge him money for that. He actually made you lose money because he's taking away the value of the boat because of an unnecessary unloading. Unloaded it. He unloaded additional cargo in middle of the trip, meaning he made a pit stop to add more cargo. What's the complaint if there's no problem to add more cargo? Because he changed his expectations. He thought he's going to get there from point A to point B in 5 days, but now they made a pit stop. It takes a little longer. Or in Amid Ashli, you have to pay extra rope to anchor the boat in this location. Number so someone rented a donkey to ride in it. So the renter could put his the renter can put his amount, whatever clothes he wants to put on it, and he could bring his drinks and food for the entire way. More than that, donkey driver can stop him from putting it because it'll weaken him. However, the donkey can put regular barley and straw that he wants to use for the donkey's provisions, and also his own food for that day only. He can't bring for the whole trip. And then the renter can prevent them from taking more. That's the case. If you're able to buy food along the way, then the donkey owner should also be able to stop the renter from taking a whole trip's food. If you can't buy it, so the renter should also be able to stop him if you could he shouldn't be able to stop him if he can't find food. The Gemara says, it's true, you are able to find it if you find a good place to buy food from. However, the driver donkey, it's normal for him to go find food. I'm renting your donkey, I don't want you to deal with your food. You go find food, no problem. I'm the renter though. So it's not my nature to go trouble myself to look for food every night. Therefore, I'm able to bring for the whole trip. Someone rent a donkey for a man to ride on it. If your wife's in the room, make sure they hear the whole next 3 sentences. Woman not ride on it because she is heavier. Not because women are heavier, but because the way they sit with their legs closed, it's more of a weight on the animal versus a man who moves around and his legs spread. Isha, but if it's for a woman, Isha man can use it. The Isha, and when it's for a woman, whether she's a large or a small woman, I feel even if she's pregnant, but I feel even if she's nursing. The Gemara says, saying she's nursing, and she has a baby. Of course, pregnant woman. Pregnant woman, pregnant woman is one person. Gemara says, even a pregnant woman who's also nursing is all mutar. We see from here an interesting concept. The weight of a belly of the fish goes according to the belly. What's that mean? The heavier the belly, the greater the belly, the heavier the fish. Therefore, the manaf kamina lemekach memkar. When you're buying and selling fish, keep track of the belly. If the belly's big, that means there's probably something in its intestines that's worthless. The guts, clear the guts, then buy the fish. Otherwise, you're paying for garbage. Someone rented a cow with assistance and a plow, very important, to plow on a mountain. Then they plowed it in the valley instead. If the guy who was putting the blade down, the assistant with the blade down, it broke, then the renter is patur. But if he did it in the valley, then he did it in the mountain, broke while plowing, the renter is chayav because he put something, he was in a place that was more severe, more terrain is more treacherous for the plow. These went to thresh beans, which is slippery for the animal. Then he did grain, patur. If the animal slips, he's patur because he did it in a less slippery place. He ordered it for grain, but he did it beans instead. Hayav because beans are more slippery than grain. So the Gemara says, if the renter did not do anything wrong, let's say he said mountain and said, and I'm doing mountain, and he went to the mountain, or I'm doing the valley and I'm doing and he actually did in the valley. Who pays for it? The one who holds the handle of the plow is chayav. He says, whoever holds the blade is chayav. The blade holder plays it. But if it's a mountain that has hard rock and granite and stone, which they have to be extra careful and sensitive, they both have because you need both of them to control it. Someone sold a cow to his friend and told him, this cow gores a lot, it's a biter, it's a kicker, it also lies down and stuff. You don't know what you're buying. Only one of those were true. Let's say he only gored. The rest were not true. And the other ones he lied about just to make it. He did it on purpose. He said, all these problems, only one problem. The other three were not problems. So that the guy buys it thinking, hey, this guy is crazy. I don't see any problems with the other three things he said. And then he thinks he's lying about all four. And then that's a mekach ta'ut. That sale is void because it's a purchase made by an error. Because he thinks that the guy was sketching about all four, but really there was one of them. So because of the way he presented it by saying three nonsense and one real one, it looks like he was lying about the fourth one, and that's why mekataut. If he says he's a gorer and he has other problems as well, Yani, you should check into it. I'm not taking responsibility. And that's not an error. You should check into it. Someone sold a shivcha kananit, non-Jewish slave woman to a friend, and he said, this woman's majnune. She's epilepsy and she's disturbed. And only one of those were applicable. And he swallowed it into others that were not true. How does it make it to same thing? It's an error because the guy was fooled. But he says he has one problem, and then there's others. Even if there's not all of them, it's not a mekata'ut because you should check into it. Let's say the woman had all the problems. What's the halacha? When the woman had all the problems, like he said, in the mekata'ut, you know what you're buying. I let you know from before. New Mishnah. Someone went donkey to bring wheat. And he bought barley instead, which is lighter. So the basic idea is that if it's lighter, you're bringing more. Right? If something weighs 5 pounds, a bundle weighs 5 pounds. The other thing weighs 3 pounds. You're going to be having more barley on there. It's more, it's more of a load. even though it might weigh similar or a little more, a little less. Chayav v'chayav, because it's extra. You're putting extra volume. Tivua, if you wanted to hire for grain, you bought straw instead. Chayav, the bulk of the barley or straw is harder on the donkey, like a load, as if you put more weight, even though not necessarily it was. Let's say you brought a letech, a measurement of wheat, but then you brought a letech of barley, same amount. Patur. If it dies or injured. He added more, because you added extra. What's considered adding to the animal's load? An extra se'ah for a camel. And 3 calves for a donkey extra is considered additional weight. Itmar. Abaye said that when the Mishnah says you're chayav by the barley / wheat is because it's hard on the donkey like a load. Rava said it's hard to carry. What's the difference? Rabbi says that he learns the Mishnah that it's the bulk of a barley is hard like a load. Nivha kitikla, bulk is hard like a weight. Because if you're adding 3 kabin, chayav because you're adding more bulk. Rava says it's harder to carry. Tikla kitikla, the weight's the same. But the swollen amount of things falling all over the place is harder for the animal to carry, and that's why we